Hello everybody, it is Steve, your friendly neighborhood lawn gnome. Welcome back to another video over here on That's Comical. And if you're watching and it happens to be a Wednesday, Happy New Comic Book Day. Well, I am very excited to be here today because it's about time that I sat down with you guys and talked about a very specific show in the world of superheroes and animation that so many people are talking about and absolutely love. And the most important thing is, it is not from the big two. This show came out on Amazon Prime at the perfect moment during the pandemic, and it is based on one of Image Comics' most popular comic books, and that, of course, is Robert Kirkman's Invincible. Now, when I first heard about this show, this is when I was literally just getting back into comics and really trying to scour the indie world and catch up on Spawn, but more importantly, find out what else is out there in Image, as well as all the other small indie companies that I did know and that I didn't know. And I knew about Robert Kirkman's fame because of The Walking Dead, because I know how popular that book is, and as well as the television show. So why wouldn't they want to make another television show out of another phenomenal piece of work that Robert Kirkman did? Because next to The Walking Dead, Invincible is his other extremely popular, iconic, ongoing series over at Image. So that was number one. Number two, finding out that we were going to be getting an animated show, that was even more exciting. But the thing that was a little bit strange to me was the fact that this show was being produced by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. Now, when you think of Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, you don't think of Invincible now that you've seen the show, or especially if you had read the comic. So I really didn't know what I was going to expect, but there was a lot of good things that I started hearing about the show that got me very excited. First of all, I thought the animation looked wonderful. Number two, I thought the cast that they got for this show was phenomenal. I mean, we had so many different kinds of people lending their voices across the acting spectrum. We had young up-and-coming actors like Steve Wynn and Zazie Beetz, but we also had very well-known names like J.K. Simmons, Sandra Oh, Walton Goggins, and we even had some of the most legendary names in the voice acting business, specifically in the world of comic book animation. Like we had the legendary Clancy Brown and Mark Hamill with minor roles. So there were so many really great things to be excited about in regards to the show. And when I watched the first season, especially the first 2 episodes, it was really not what I expected because, once again, I had never read the comic book, and I just wanted to see what this was, and I was floored by this show. So we're here to talk about Season 2, guys. So just want to give you a little bit of a background. So this is the story of a boy named Mark Grayson, whose father happens to be a very well-known superhero called Omni-Man, and he is waiting for his superpowers to kick in, and then he wants to make a name for himself as the superhero Invincible. But then something happens that he never would have expected, and he finds out that his father is not the person who he thought he was, and now he has a mission to be the best superhero that can possibly be out there, and more importantly, follow the ways of a true superhero as opposed to what he discovers about his dad. And we get to an amazing climax at the end of the first season, only to get back to where we were in the second season after everything that's happened. And this is a very interesting show because it sort of reminds me of a lot of what I have enjoyed as a young person all the way up into my 20s and 30s. There's a lot of callbacks to Bruce Timm's animated series work, and that's what I always say. Invincible is truly for people who grew up with Batman the Animated Series and beyond, so we're talking about the Superman, we're even talking about X-Men, Spider-Man, but it's really for an adult audience. But even newcomers to this franchise, like myself, would very much enjoy it too, just because of the overall spectacle that Invincible is. So along with that, it's very well acted, it's very well paced, and it's also really interesting when you take a look at the fact that we don't just look at the superheroes being superheroes, we look at the human aspect as well. That is a real, for me, a callback to a show like Young Justice, which is why that one is ever so popular. So in the second season, Mark is really trying to balance everything. He's trying to just be a normal kid. He's trying to go through college, have a good relationship with his girlfriend, Amber, but at the same time, he's still living with a lot of pain about knowing what his father had done. And eventually, he would find his father again due to a mission that he had, and he's still trying to figure out, has his father changed, or is his father still the same? But his father definitely is in a bit of a predicament himself, because the alien race that he is from, the Veltramites, the elites, they come to collect him, and they try to recruit Mark to taking his father's place. So the big question is going to be, what is Mark going to do? And more importantly, what is his father, Nolan, going to do? So the second season, I don't think is as good as the first season, but it's not bad at all. I think one of the biggest problems was the fact that it just took such a long time for the second season to get here. It took about almost 2.5 years. And then there was a big pause after episode 4. It took us forever to get the last couple of episodes. But at the end, we were definitely left with a good, satisfying end to the season, and I'm really excited to see where Season 3 goes, because there's definitely a lot to take in from the second season, and the whole show in general. But I will say that if you have never read the comic book, don't worry about it. I'm right there with you. At the end, I ended up picking up a free comic book day copy of Invincible #1, as well as a local comic book store day copy of Invincible #1. And the show was very much accurate, telling the story from the very beginning. But I will also say that beware when you go into this show, because it is a very, very graphic show when it comes to the action. And I think that that's one of the reasons why Invincible is as popular as it has been all these years. Because there have been many times in the world of comic books where fights happen in the pages, but very few times did we ever see the graphic nature of a fight, because it's more realistic. Even the superhero elements are very realistic. The superheroes do get battered and bloodied, and sometimes they don't even make it. And that's one of the main reasons why Invincible has made its mark in the world of comic books. So, just so you know, those things happen, and the show definitely does not hold back. And as someone who is not a big fan of Seth Rogen, I give him and Evan Goldberg so much props. Not to mention that Seth Rogen does voice the character Alan, who is definitely the comic relief of the show, and he definitely has great comedic timing. So yes, Seth Rogen even surprises me in this show as well. But I will just say that I have been enjoying Invincible. I am really excited for Season 3. Also, don't forget to watch the Adam Eve special, which is a really great origin story of Adam Eve, who is voiced by Gillian Jacobs. She's also a great actress, and she does a great job as this character. And the only thing that I will personally say, because it still hasn't happened in the world of Amazon, but I'm really hoping that this show does make it to physical media, because I personally would love to own a copy of Invincible, the complete series, at some point in time, along with a couple of other ones, specifically The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That show is still not on physical media. But at the same time, I personally can understand why Amazon is one of the only places where shows that they create are not coming out on physical media. And I think it's because of the fact that Amazon is going to be one of the platforms that will have true staying power, just because so many people will get a Prime subscription for the purposes of getting free shipping on their Amazon purchases, and the streaming is just the icing on the cake. But the truth is, they really should put these shows out on physical media. So whether it's Invincible or The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel or The Boys, believe me, people will buy them, especially considering the fact that Disney Plus practically broke and now all those MCU TV shows and Star Wars shows are coming to physical media. I really hope the same happens with Invincible because I would love to own a copy. So those are my thoughts on Invincible Season 2, everybody. Please leave your comments in the box below and let's discuss, and I will see you in the next one.